Hello, and welcome to the Mild Opinion Podcast, episode 10. I'm Luke,
I am Logan.
and today we're doing a thing that we're calling I Can't Stand It, which is we're kind of using this as an opportunity to be some haters on some of our problems with some trends and tropes and things we're generally annoyed by movies and movie-going experiences at the moment. So, this is more of a heated opinion podcast episode. But we think it'll be fun. So, do you want to kick us off here with the first I Can't Stand It?
I shall. I think the first thing I can't stand, and me and you have talked about it a little bit, is I can't stand it when, for moviegoers and people who go to the movie frequently and stuff like we do, when there's a movie that's coming out, it's like generally a bigger movie at the end of the year, and they have the same trailer playing every single time. So not only do you see it in the theaters, but it's a big movie, so you see it, all over TV, just watching TV, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, and the same trailer over and over and over, which, it's how it works. You get publicity, all that. But when it's for like 9 months of just the same thing, over and over and over, it gets so exhausting.
It gets so old, and so in reference to what we're specifically talking about right now is, we've seen a lot of movies recently because it's just been a very good time to go see a lot of movies in theaters. But I'm pretty sure every single movie that you and I have sat down in the theater to watch recently has played a trailer for Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. And this is the 8th movie in the Mission Impossible franchise. And it's like, we can't be the only people who have not watched all the Mission Impossible movies and are sitting here going like, oh my gosh, it's just... and it's a long trailer too. It's 3 minutes of Tom Cruise being like, I'm the only one who can do it, doing the Tom Cruise run, doing some crazy stunt where it's like, how did this man end up in this scenario? And then 50 shots of just explosions without context. It's like, and then there's people talking in the background being like, this is the only man who can save the whole world. And the absolute worst one for me is Tom Cruise at the ending of it continuously being like, I need you to trust me one last time. It's like, gosh.
Just over and over again, every time we go to the movies. And also, so we've seen a lot of movies here recently, like you said, so we see it every time we go to the movies. I've seen it on Instagram, I've seen the trailer show up on TikTok, I've seen it watching stuff on TV, it's just always there, and I'm like, I don't need to see this anymore.
It's getting so old.
And it's not even just, we're nitpicking that one because that's the one.
That's the one we're always like,
we've noticed and we've talked about it. But that happens a lot. If there's ever a big movie, and it's 8 months out, 6 months out, whatever, that entire time, boom, boom, boom. Every couple of days you'll see something about it. It's like, okay, we get it. We're gonna go see it. Don't worry. But
so and we've been talking about the new one we're fearful of that for is Tron Ares, which doesn't come out until October, and we've already seen the dang trailer for it at least 5 times in theaters, and so that's kind of concerning because that's going to be a big movie as well. It's going to have a big budget. They're going to do a lot of advertisement for it. Every time we go to the movies, there's going to be a Tron Ares trailer. The good news about this little issue though is that the new Mission Impossible comes out in a few weeks, so it'll be out of the theaters. No disrespect to Tom Cruise because it's awesome, he does his own stunts and stuff for it, but it's just, it started the trailers way too soon.
And also not trying to nitpick Mission Impossible again, but that leads us to the next thing that we cannot stand.
Yes, can't stand it.
When the trailers give up pretty much the whole movie. Because the entire Mission Impossible trailer is just a bunch of random action sequences, him saying, I can do this, I can be the only one to stop this, blah, 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 blah. And then just explosions and stuff. And I'm like, I know it's an action movie, but you're telling me that there's so much action in this movie that all of these random planes and stuff. He's underwater. He's in a submarine. He's blowing stuff up. He's on an aircraft carrier. There's more action than what you're showing me in that. There's just no way.
Yeah.
There's more going on than what you've showed me.
Yeah, and it's like all of them seem to be in different locations too. So it's like there can't be there can't be that many more locations than what we're seeing. So it's just shot after shot of Tom Cruise like sprinting down an empty street, followed by like an explosion, somebody shooting, and then Tom Cruise like underwater hanging onto a plane while it's taking off. And it's like, we've all been seeing Mission Impossible trailers for years. It always seems like without a parachute, Tom Cruise is falling from some ridiculous height or hanging onto a plane as it's taking off. So yeah, it just kind of feels a little beaten to death, at least in terms of how much footage we've seen from this movie.
Yeah.
And how long we have been seeing trailers for it, because it's at this point where I don't see the trailer anymore and am remotely even like intrigued to watch the trailer.
No.
I just see it come on. It's like, all right, it's this 3-minute thing of explosions, Tom Cruise, them saying he's the only one who can save the world, and so on.
Yeah, like I said, not just nitpicking the new Mission Impossible.
Nah.
But, just the idea in and of itself. It just so happened that Mission Impossible
It's a very recent example of this.
It's a very recent example, and it's kind of covered both, the trailers being out for a long time, as well as letting a lot of the movie be spoiled in the trailer. Yeah, because, don't get me wrong, you gotta get people intrigued to come watch the movie and stuff. Show them, a little bit about what's going to be about and all that.
Mm.
But also, at this point, there's so many Mission Impossibles. The people who like that kind of stuff know what they're going to be into. Like, they know what they're getting themselves into. You don't need to show me a 5-second clip from every action sequence in the movie in the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to show all that.
Yeah.
And that goes for any movie. Any movie that gives up, just too much. Like, you go into it, and you watch the movie, and you're like, all right, well, I know what's going to happen here because we've seen the trailer 15 times, and this is that setting. That's what's about to happen. Like, that kind of stuff's just like, man, like, you don't need to give all of it up all the time. And I think horror movies have been bad about that too.
Oh, yeah.
They'll give up like a couple of the scares and stuff in the trailer, and you're like, well, now I'm not even scared because I've seen it.
Especially like
times.
the jump scare stuff. I feel like horror movies honestly do their best when they don't show you that much.
Yeah.
Like, show maybe like a glimpse of what you're dealing with, but leave a lot of it up to mystery, especially with horror movies, because it's like, if you leave a lot of it up to mystery, then people are going to be like, what was that? Like, that seems interesting. I'll go see that. But yeah, the silver lining to that is it doesn't seem like horror movies advertise themselves like half a year in advance. They kind of within the month or a couple months before.
Yeah.
So that they don't have that big of a problem. It's just, it's along the same problematic line there.
Speaking of horror movies, I know you got one that we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Not that long ago, about one of the things that you cannot stand.
Well, are you talking about the one we saw in the trailers yesterday?
Yeah.
Yep. So, something we cannot stand. Well, just in general, something that's kind of become problematic is what we like to call the legacy movie or legacy character syndrome, where a franchise will come back after fill in the blank amount of years, and it's like, oh yeah, I remember that actor from way back when. Like, they're the only person who this new cast of characters has to go to figure it out. So, in regards to what we're talking about the new I Know What You Did Last Summer, and the legacy character syndrome comes through so hard in even the first trailer. And yeah, you were the one who brought up the corny line delivery, so...
Yeah. If you watch the new I Know What You Did Last Summer trailer, the new group of people being attacked walk up to someone with their back turned to them, and they tap on her shoulder, and they're like, please, like, we need your help. And she just turns around and she says, I need to know what you did last summer. And it's just the corniest, like you're really leaning in on that, you know?
I haven't seen any of these movies, and upon seeing this trailer, she turns around and says that, and I'm like, okay, well, this is clearly some sort of legacy character that I'm missing the point of here.
Yeah, well, and you know, legacy characters are good in some aspects, and it's not like a thing to where we're like, oh, we hate having legacy characters in movies. But like, a lot of times, especially with horror movies, that's kind of been a big thing here recently.
Horror movies are the ones where I can't stand it now.
It feels like a lot of the time they kind of just really lean into like, oh yeah, you guys liked this movie 20 years ago? Well, here they are again, but now there's new people. And it's like, why? If you wanted to like bring that back, why do they have to be in it? Like, it's cool that they're in it and stuff, like whatever. You know, you liked them before, you like them now. But like, I don't know, bring back the bad guy with new people. The old people don't have to be in it. They've dealt with it already. Yeah. We've seen how they dealt with it. Let the new people deal with it.
It kind of makes it less scary.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of just feels like... It feels like if I was watching the movie, I'd just, like, run out of energy watching it.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain, but... Yeah, I remember a couple years ago, I feel like this was around, like, the Oppenheimer, Barbenheimer age kind of stuff. They were releasing a new Exorcist movie. And they like... It just seemed like a straight up movie about possession for a while, and I was like, okay, looks creepy, right? And then some older looking woman shows up, and she's like, I've dealt with this before, and I was like, oh, come on, this is what it's gonna be. And it's like The Exorcist like knew something or other, and I was just like, come on, just make a crazy new exorcism paranormal movie. Don't just be like, oh, let's get, you know, this character who some people may know, throw him in front of the screen and get him pick up right where they left off. Because it's like, does it not happen anymore where the original story was just the original story and now it's done?
Yeah. Well, and see, that's kind of what I'm saying too, is like the legacy characters and stuff like that. Like, in the beginning, the first time that y'all have seen these characters and have known these characters and stuff, they had to deal with it by themselves. Yeah. Why can't the new cast of characters deal with it by themselves? Like, I don't understand why there has to be someone who's already dealt with this before. And also, I feel like that... I don't really understand why they do it as much as they do. Because I know, like, that draws in, like, a very specific crowd. Like, the crowd of people who have seen those movies and liked them before. You know what I mean? Because, like, for people like me and you who have never seen the original I Know What You Did Last Summer trilogy... We're not going to be running to the theater to go see it because of these legacy characters. You know what I mean? We're going to feel like we're missing out because we haven't seen it. Yeah. So, you know, unless we decide to watch the original trilogy, we're probably going to skip it because we don't know anything about it. Now it's not its own standalone story. It has to do with all these other movies from 20 years ago.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just it's the worst with horror movies, and I was thinking about this earlier. I'm a little bit biased on it with certain things, so it's like, you know, we talk about like legacy characters and like Star Wars and stuff, and there's a certain point here with superhero movies where they bring somebody in who hasn't been around for like 10 years, and it's like, oh wow, like it's cool to see them again, but not even, this isn't like specific to horror movies, but it does feel like way too many franchises have started to be like, we gotta pick up right where we left off with this. And I think one that was a big problem, one for me, I didn't see the movie, I think you did and said it was alright, is Indiana Jones 5.
Yeah.
I was like, isn't Harrison Ford in his 80s? Like, how long does he have to keep slinging the whip and like being deep cover archaeology sort of stuff? I didn't see it. I heard it wasn't that bad. But...
It wasn't that bad, but it was kind of like, all right, we're beating a dead horse with this one. Like, we don't need that anymore. Yeah. We were done with it.
Yeah. All right, well, another thing I was going to bring up about I Can't Stand It, and this is when I think I was in the theater with you. We saw a trailer for this movie, and this is what I'll identify as copy and paste movie syndrome. there is this movie, and I wrote it down here, called Fight or Flight, coming
Mm-hmm.
out with Josh Hartnett, the main guy from Trap,
Mm-hmm.
and it, as we were watching the trailer unfold, I'm pretty sure we were both convinced that this was another movie, like at least by the same writer as Bullet Train,
Yes.
because it's literally the exact same plot as Bullet Train. It looked like the same level of like goofiness as Bullet Train,
Yeah.
and nope, it has nothing at all in relation to Bullet Train. It's a guy who's an assassin on a plane looking to assassinate somebody, but there's also other assassins on this plane. That is the exact same plot as Bullet Train,
And
just
also,
on a plane.
just like Bullet Train, it's not just like normal people. It's people from all over the world, and there's like different like characteristics of them and
Yeah.
stuff. Like each assassin has their own weird vibe. Like it is dead on Bullet Train, just on an airplane. And I literally, when we were seeing the trailer for the first time at the theater, I was like, oh, I bet this is like Bullet Train 2. And then I was like, oh, I bet it's going to be called Bullet Plane.
Yeah, or
I
something
literally
like
said,
that.
yeah, I literally said that. And then we got to the end of it and we're like, this isn't part of the Bullet Train extended universe.
I was shocked. So yeah, like that's just a very extreme. That's definitely the one that comes most to mind right now because it's like, you know, if you've seen Bullet Train, it's like a goofy kind of violent action adventure movie. It's pretty straightforward. This one is like, oh no, what if that happens on a plane? Except it's nothing to do with Bullet Train.
Yeah.
So it's like, what the heck? Like, why?
Yeah.
Why is this happening again? And I think the biggest genre, not to like solely bash on like one topic today that is victim to this, is horror movies.
Yeah.
Because we talked about some in our horror movie episode. There are so many horror movies where it's literally just like, what's something creepy we can think of, and then find like the most minute, unexpected thing to throw in with it to make it seem like it's a whole new thing.
Yeah.
So there's so many possession movies. There's so many things about like, oh, it's a murderer. But it can't be that hard to come up with a little bit more outside the box thinking here, or stuff that hasn't been done before.
Yeah. Well, just like the copycat stuff. You know, like that's not even saying that it's like, you know, you see these movies and they are very similar to other movies and stuff, so these are like automatically bad movies. You know what I mean? Like, to be honest, I think Fight or Flight looks good. Like I would probably enjoy it if I saw it. It's just annoying that it's like, you know, why do we have to have 15 movies about virtually the exact same thing? You know what I mean? Like, and I guess, you know, one could argue that, like, oh, yeah, well, like, if they were successful doing it, why can't we do it and be successful too? And, you know, that's fine, like, they can, but it's just, like, the originality, like, it lacks originality, and that's what I want. I want to see more original stuff.
Yeah.
But, and that's why, like, the copycat movies and stuff are just like, like, why?
It feels very much just like, okay, take the idea of an assassin in a like confined area trying to figure out who they were supposed to assassinate, except they're not the only one trying to do that, and then just find a location for that. Like, it's on a bullet train. No, it's on a plane, and it's like next is gonna be like in a bus station or something. Yeah. So that severely made me be like, I'm not watching this movie, man. And another thing, this goes back to another issue that we brought up today, which is, I remember watching this trailer and it shows like people getting killed. It shows the plane getting blown open and people flying out of the plane. It's like, so we know at some point that's going to happen.
Yeah, like what else is going to happen? Because obviously 99% of the movie takes place on the plane. But if the plane's, you know, people are flying out of the plane, we know who dies, like what more is there to see?
Yeah. And so yeah. Another, I can't stand it, that I'll give right now because I have like a few of them that have been bothering me as of late, is when they announce a movie and then you hear all this stuff behind the scenes, like the new writer, new cast members, there was a problem with the production on this certain day, and then it's either it comes out like 5 years after it was supposed to, or it doesn't come out.
Yeah.
And it's just left in this like limbo state for the longest time. So there's two right now that I can point to. One, it's on the Marvel side of things. Blade, the Blade movie with Mahershala Ali.
Mm.
It was supposed to come out. Wasn't it supposed to come out already?
Yeah, it was supposed to come out last November.
Yeah, and now they've basically like chopped it. But it's like, so is Blade never coming? And then the other one, flipping over to DC, the Batman Part 2.
Yeah.
It's been almost 4 years since the Batman came out. And it was supposed to be like a whole new thing of like kind of the younger, new on his feet Batman.
Mm.
And, you know, you've heard these things about DC behind the scenes of being like they want to make sure the script is like fantastic before they greenlight any project. But at a certain point, it's like, what is so hard about getting this script so right? Because for the longest time, we've been hearing rumor about it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and now with the Batman Part 2, it's kind of even worse because they've come out and said, like, oh, yeah, if, you know, if there's, like, scheduling conflicts or anything like that, and they can't get Robert Pattinson to, you know, start working on it after the script is done within, like, the next, like, year and a half, then they're just not going to do it.
Yeah. Well, honestly, who can blame Robert Pattinson for that? Like, for a huge blockbuster movie like that, and for a huge role like that, do they expect him to just be on retainer for that in the hopes that it happens in the next few years? Which is why, like, you know, he's working on the Odyssey right now with Chris Nolan, and the big, like, cross wires scenario that's coming to is he's rumored to be one of the main villains, I think, in the third Dune movie, which also will take a huge chunk of time to film because these are all huge blockbuster movies we're talking about. This isn't like a movie what you see in a theater or like you see it on a trailer and it's like it comes out in a month and it's like, oh, that looks interesting. This is a movie that's been announced for years.
Yeah.
This is a movie that will be everybody go see this in the theater kind of deal. And so that's really frustrating to me, especially in the case of, and I won't harp on this for too long, but in the case of the Batman Part 2, they released a whole show set in that universe recently that did great. The Batman, the first movie, did great both like financially and like critically, whatever you think about it or not. So it's like, did we just fumble the script too many times and then we're going to give up because of James Gunn's new DC?
Yeah.
Like, come on. He gave you the green light. Go ahead and do it. He was all in favor of it. So just those, and you know, this probably happens with a lot more movies than you think, just not ones that get a lot of press because it's like an original idea or something.
Yeah.
There's the main pet peeve of that is that they'll announce it and then it's just in limbo for the longest time and then it's just like, oh yeah, it's canceled.
Yeah, well, that's just the worst part about it because I cannot tell you how many times, like, you know, they'll be talking about a movie and they're like, oh yeah, like, this is going to come out. And I'll get so excited, like, oh my gosh, I'll start brainstorming. I can't wait to see this. I hope this happens. I hope I see this person in it, whatever. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, well, they didn't like the script. They got into it with the director. Blah, 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 blah. Somebody got in trouble. Blah, 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 blah. They can't be in it. Then all of a sudden it never comes. And you just, all that's like nothing. You know, it's wasted. It's just
and
like,
it makes people mad too because it's like, they've been hearing about it for years, or like there's always going to be people who are excited for these things, and it's like, how is it being handled this poorly then? Yeah. And you know, I'm not saying that there's not these more complicated reasons that we're just not like up to date on or like privileged to that knowledge of, but it's like it's such a disappointment when that happens. You know, and it's always a hard thing to live with of like, is this movie going to happen? Because, you know, for guys like us who like comic book movies and stuff like that, like Blade sounds great. And then there's Batman, and it's like, is this just on hold indefinitely now?
Yeah, it's just not happening.
Yeah. But yeah, that's one thing I've really not been able to stand recently. Is it seems like every other week the uncertainty of the Batman Part 2 goes up. At least Blade, they were at least like, we're just gonna put it on hold.
Yeah.
But that one, I'm like, what is taking so long?
The uncertainty of the Batman 2 keeps you up at night.
It does. I roll around. Yeah, I can't fall asleep from it. But yeah, I was gonna ask you, do you have any more I can't stand it about film industry right now?
Not any that I can think of right off the top of my head. I mean, I'm sure there are things that I'll pick up and complain about sometime, but as of now, I can't think of any. So
well, it is a very imperfect industry as much as we love it, but so there's always going to be stuff like that. And you know, talking on legacy stuff and whatnot, maybe they come out with the greatest legacy movie of all time, who's to say, but this is just some of our general pet peeves and some of our more heated opinions about movies nowadays.
Just some of the things that we've noticed and talked about recently that's getting on our nerves.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for listening to our more heated episode. I thought that was pretty fun to do. And this has been the Mild Opinion Podcast, episode 10, and thank you for listening.